This is a video of the smelting process, or the process where we turn the gold flakes and nuggets into gold bricks and bars. This video follows directly after the cleaning process video, the final cleaning process video, where they remove as many of the impurities as possible from the gold flakes and nuggets that has come straight from the jungle. This is all currently taking place in Honduras, and this is a little sneak peek inside look at how they do it down there. It may not be how they do it anywhere else, but it's the way that some of the top guys there processing millions of dollars of gold are doing it. And I'm giving you guys a little bit of a sneak peek and inside look at how they're doing things down there. Here they're mixing in a additive with the gold that will allow it to cook down and form better, as well as not be as likely to stick to the mold when they pour it into the mold. You'll see the various tools that they're using here, as well as the process that they use, and all of this stuff is either homemade or brought in from overseas. They continue to advance their craft as they figure out how to advance it, and this is about 8 years advanced. Originally, they were not using any of the fancy equipment that you see here. The forge is brand new, homemade job that we've got going on here. This will be the first time that we've used it, so it'll be a little interesting to see how it goes here, but it's just a forge that we've built and some of the tools that we've brought in from the United States or otherwise bought here in Honduras. After they mix the gold with the additive to the proper ratio, then they'll go ahead and get the forge heated up and make sure everything's working properly. The crucible, I believe it's called in English, is a little cast iron pot that's already inside the forge. As you can see here, they're using a homemade funnel to pour in the gold into the crucible. The crucible needs to be preheated, which is the little bowl that the gold is heated in. That's already in there, and it's already preheated, so now they're pouring in the gold. That will need to reach a certain temperature, which they only eyeball to see when it's properly melted, and then they'll pour it into a mold. And we've also got a new mold that's for bars, and we're trying to do our bars in about 1 kilo a piece, so we'll show you how that goes as well. As expensive as gold is, you can see here that they're very careful not to lose any or get any stuck on any of the equipment. They try to do as much as possible to be very careful and not lose any of the material, because like I said, it is very expensive. Here you can see him preheating the mold which the gold will be poured into. It needs to be preheated because it won't seat properly and it'll either stick or it'll get stuck inside, and it just needs to be preheated before you pour the gold into it. So what he's doing here is he's preheating the mold. Here's a little inside view of what's going on inside the forge right now. If I can get the camera to focus, you can kind of see the gold melting a little bit there, and that's a little bit of an inside view of the gold as it's becoming molten. What he's doing now is he's stirring the molten gold with a carbon stick, and all of the impurities in the gold will stick to the carbon. That will ensure that the gold that comes out is as pure as possible. We'll go right from molding this brick, and then we'll take the brick right to our buyer, and the buyer we'll buy it as is. Here you can see some of the final impurities that came out of the gold. They're cleaning this off of the rod right now, and this was anything that was in the gold before it was smelted and melted down that was not gold itself. So we're now finally getting rid of that, and the rest of the gold will be very pure. As you can also see, they've turned the heat up a little bit in preparation for pulling out the gold and pouring it into the mold. Crucible, or the pot that the gold's in, you can see it's red hot and molten, and pouring the gold directly into the mold to form the bar. That you see in the mold right there is a red hot bar of about a kilo of gold, and it's cooling. We'll pour it out of there, and you can see it as we continue to let it cool, and it's now in the form of a bar. It's a little red hot and gold, as you can see, but we're just going to really quickly dunk it into some water and speed up the cooling process. And here you have your finished gold bar. We didn't quite heat up the mold hot enough, and it was a new mold, so the bar's a little dirty, but we'll clean that off, and this bar is ready to be sold.